They have started begging for a black woman's vote again. Oh. They have started begging and advocating for a black woman to stand for them. People that look down on black people, that literally use their mouth to say, we do not need black people's votes. In fact, if I have the Latinos, I have the Hispanics, who am I? I am okay. Right now, they are begging a black woman. Why is it that every single time they need something so desperately, the first thing they'll be calling is black people? And they will go specifically to a black woman because they know that the moment a black woman step in and then talk to the black people and be like, you know, let's just do this, they will automatically do that. But this time around, shame on them because it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. But first, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And guys, with that being said, let's go watch how they are begging black women. And I'll come back with commentaries. Make sure you tell me exactly what you think about this video.
To the Congresswoman's supporters, I've said that it is on me as their Democratic nominee to earn their trust and earn their support. I want every single one of the Congresswoman's supporters to feel welcomed in, represented by, and proud of this campaign, because I really do believe that together we can do something extraordinary. We can end 30 years of one-party rule in Texas, and we can transform American politics. That's what we have the opportunity to do, and the only way we're going to do it is if we do it together.
Have you asked her to campaign with you? Would you like her to campaign with you over the coming months?
Well, the Congresswoman is a fierce campaigner, so I would be honored to have her campaigning with me and for the whole ticket. And I know that...
James, we know that Jasmine Crockett cares more about Texas than she does herself. The problem is you didn't give a fuck about Texas voters because you didn't ask for a recount. You said you had to earn the black vote. That should have started as soon as you saw the disenfranchisement that was coming out of Dallas County. As soon as you saw black voters being turned away from their regular voting post, you should have stopped that shit. But you didn't. You went up there and you accepted everything. And you took the win without asking for a recount, without demanding the polls to being reopened. None of that. Also, you let your team and your people be racist towards black folks. Dehumanize Jasmine Crockett, calling her everything but the child of God. You never refuted not one statement that came from your people and your followers and your viewers about Jasmine Crockett. You think you gonna earn the black vote because Jasmine may go on tour with you? Talarico, let me make something very clear when it comes to Kamala Harris and Jasmine Crockett. They're gonna do what decorum tells them to do. Decorum says congratulate your opponent, wish them the best, give them your support, because if she didn't, if Kamala Harris did not endorse you, Jasmine Crockett didn't say that shit, they would be considered...
Can James Talarico get black Texans to rally around him for November? If the primary race is any indicator, the answer is no. He ceded that voting block to Jasmine Crockett willfully. I don't even like Colin Allred, but Talarico made some slick comments about him to another black political operative. The vibes are not vibing. Two simple items for me that signal an uphill climb. He leans very heavily into his faith. In the past, that was definitely a winning strategy, if not a neutral stance to have. But in an environment where more younger black people are deconstructing and less involved in the church, this may be a net negative. My own mother admitted to getting duped into the first George W. campaign due to the faith issue, since recognizing the error in her ways. The second is the talking point that has become the calling card of white leftists, saying that this is not a left versus right, but a top to bottom fight. In theory, that sounds fine, but the black leftist movement is very different than the white leftist movement. Our priorities are different. I went through James Talarico's issues page on his campaign website, and I encourage you as well. All of the policy proposals are milquetoast, standard 2020s era, very tame. At this point, it's going to come down to vibes. And the thing that is required to advance Talarico beyond where Beto O'Rourke has been is his connection with the black communities on either side of I-45. 2 days a week in Harris County, 2 days a week in Dallas County, 1 day in Tarrant County. then fill the gaps in East Texas, San Antonio, Austin, El Paso. 80% of the campaign photos for the next 8 months need to have a black face in it. Although James Tallarico was able to secure the Jasmine Crockett endorsement, he will need to fight like hell to retain her voters. He will absolutely need them. If black voter turnout for him in those Democratic major city strongholds wavers, he has no chance. Black turnout, black turnout, black turnout.
Black people, because we have been preaching the greater good since we had the chance to vote. We have been saying, even at an expense of things that we personally want, incremental change is still good change. After Jasmine Crockett, after Stacey Abrams, after Kamala Harris, black people are literally saying, you know what? We're gonna pull a page out of leftist books and say they gotta earn our vote. Maybe politicians should earn the black vote. The most consistent demographic in this country, voting-wise, should not be the default, and they should be earned. And people are losing their mind. They're like, what about the greater good? What about community building? What about getting Republicans out of office? That's the number one. As if we all didn't live through 2024. Acting like black people don't have to submit their absolute best just to get a seat at the table is bizarre. We are not putting up mediocre candidates and expecting everyone to vote for them solely because they're black. And the idea that black people are being petty because they don't necessarily want to immediately support James Tallarico, when the dude didn't even refute the lies that were being spewed by the right by his quote-unquote friend. We're not being unreasonable. We're just meeting people where they're at. And the idea that black people are actually using their power in this way scares Democrats. And until Democrats figure out their racism problem, this is what it's going to be like. This is the energy we're going to continue to put out, because no one is saying boycott voting. What we're saying is only vote for the candidates that earn your vote. Like you guys told Kamala Harris she had to do, and that's why she lost. And you can blame Israel, you can blame whatever you want. The point is, what you're saying now, we need to get Republicans out of office, is what we have been saying. And when the tables are turned on you and the talking points that you used against Kamala Harris are used back on you when it comes to James Tallarico, you guys are losing your mind. How does it feel? I can't even spell empathy to care. Do you know what I mean? Happy Sunday, because y'all are losing your minds, and I personally love it because we tried to tell y'all. And now that we're stopped telling y'all, we're just like, well, we're going to wait to see what these candidates have to say specifically about black people. You guys are like, this is ridiculous.
I'm here to tell y'all right fucking now. If you're going to make Jamal do right, I'm sure Jasmine knows what's going on. And as her being a daughter of Texas, she's going to encourage everybody to get in line. But Jasmine, if you're watching this post, you might want to just sit this one out. Tallarico is dependent on the black woman and black man to get him over the finish line. He can hang it up.
Oh my goodness. So Jasmine Crockett, even though she lost, built a very strong base of black voters, a very loyal base of black voters. And they are not too happy with the Democrat Party. As a matter of fact, they are putting out videos talking about how they are protesting the election in November, how many of them may, sit out the election in November because they feel like, hey, we have to just get in line.
So now they're saying that I'm dividing the Democratic Party because I advise the black voters in Texas to not vote for James Tallarico in the midterms. So now I'm the reason, I'm the divider of the party because I am tired of the shenanigans that's going on with our qualified black candidates.
And in response to that, they want James Tallarico to earn their vote. And as they've said, like, hey, everyone else gets to have their votes earned. Why can't we have our votes earned?
I think it's really funny how white leftists, the Never Kamala leftists, the Hassan Piker bros are freaking the fuck out because black people are saying that James Tallarico has to earn their vote.
Now, this is something that I 100% agree with. For every black woman, black man who's talking about, hey, I want my vote earned, I want the same respect, okay, because I've been voting Democrat and yada, yada, yada. By all means, I have nothing wrong with that. Nothing whatsoever.
My whole fucking life, I've been voting Democrat. But as soon as we get somebody that's qualified, especially a black woman, they use the racist shit on them. And I'm going to tell y'all one other thing I will never do in my goddamn life. I will never vote for another Latino in my life.
The only problem is, which is something that I argued about a while ago, and that was black extinction, okay? When it comes to political extinction. And people didn't like that term. Oh, no, I'm going to survive. And this is where we are. It's fun. I feel like Thanos.
You could not live with your own failure.
Everything you've done just has led you right back to me. Because when we look at the black vote and the Democrat Party, they are both in between a rock and a hard place. Because black people are like, hey, I want something for my vote. The problem is they don't have anyone to advocate on behalf of the black vote. They don't have anyone to advocate on behalf what black Texans want. Because you can say, I want you to earn. But if you're not having, anyone be able to articulate what is it that I need to do to earn your vote, then mum's a word. This has always been a very big problem. The second part is the Democrats, right? Rock and a hard place. Democrats are very seriously weighing, as we saw with James Tallarico, of, hey, is it worth to even, try an outreach towards a black vote? This is something that I believe his name, Gary Chambers, constantly talks about. It's like, hey, you're...
Oh, that's right. Y'all only care about these things when it's a black woman running. When you look up James Tallarico on the Track APAC website, according to them, he has gotten $23,250 from the nebulous bundlers. I want to point out that last week when I made this post on Jasmine Crockett and I checked up James Tallarico on the Track APAC website, he wasn't there. And when I say he wasn't there, I don't mean like, oh, he wasn't there because he didn't take any money. No. I mean, he wasn't there at all. When you typed in his name, 0 search results came up. This website didn't even list him on their website last week, despite the fact of all of the traction that he has been gaining nationally from this race. Wait. All the people who didn't support Jasmine because she took APAC money and supported Tallarico because he didn't, why are y'all so quiet? Where y'all at? Where's all the think pieces about Tallarico taking money from APAC? If this website was a strong enough source for you to drag Jasmine Crockett behind it and choose not to vote for her, then it should be a good enough source for you to treat James Tallarico the same, right? But where are the think pieces? Huh? Where are the millions of bot comments talking about how Tallarico took money from APAC? Now that they're calling Tallarico out, are you going to ask for sources on these bundlers? Or are you just going to take this at face value like you took it with Jasmine Crockett? Are y'all going to abandon your support for him now? The way you abandon your support for Jasmine Crockett? I know you goalpost movers are rushing to the comments right now with your Twitter fingers to start talking about, oh, well, okay, but Jasmine Crockett has voted to support Israel and give aid to Israel. And so has James Tallarico. But let's be clear, unlike Jasmine Crockett, James Tallarico doesn't have to vote on these House bills because he's not in the House. But he is in the Texas State House. And they had a bill. The title was Reaffirming Texas's Support for Israel and Recognizing Israel's Right to Defend Its Citizens. Now, let's scroll down and see what James Tallarico chose. Wait a minute now. Is that a green check for yay next to James Tallarico? Yeah, it is. He voted yes. James voted to support Israel and its right to defend themselves. Now, I know you goalpost movers, your panties are in a bunch right now, but you got another trick up your sleeve. Well, Jasmine Crockett went to Israel. She visited Israel. And James Tallarico was at an APAC event. If there was a record of Jasmine Crockett being at an APAC event, y'all wouldn't have brought that up and dragged her through the mud for it? But Priscilla, this was in 2019. This was at the beginning of his career. And so was when Jasmine Crockett went to Israel. That was before October 7th. And it was part of an orientation trip for new members in Congress. And last but not least, let's not forget the fact that James Tallarico's #1 largest donation came from Miriam Adelson, the Israeli-American billionaire who is one of Trump's top donors. This is the woman who asked Trump to run for a 3rd term and told him she would give him $100 million if he did. This woman is constantly lobbying for pro-Israel policy in the United States, and she has the money to back it up. So I'll ask again, where are all of the think pieces? Where are all of the blog posts, investigative journalist posts about James Tallarico taking AIPAC money? About James Tallarico's support for Israel? Oh, that's right. Y'all only care about these things when it's a black woman running. You only have these strict litmus tests when it's a black woman running. Y'all can give grace to white men, but when it comes to black women, they can have 0 faults.
Sad day for Jasmine Crockett. See, here's the thing. Jasmine Crockett lost yesterday to James Tallarico in the Democrat Senate primary for Texas. It wasn't even particularly close, I think, in the end. 8 points, maybe, something like that. And Jasmine did suggest that the election was stolen, that Republicans rigged it. Jasmine, Republicans wanted you to win. No one rigged it for James. We wanted you to win because, and I know this is going to be hard to stomach, because you're a joke. We knew it would be a slaughter in the general election. You know, you're right. It was rigged, but it was rigged by your own party. You got the Bernie Sanders treatment. You got the Democratic Party picking its heir apparents, and it wasn't you, Jasmine. We wish it would have been you. We wish it would have been Jasmine Crockett, but it's not. And I feel confident that there will be some place that you'll land solidly on your feet, perhaps The View, but it won't be as a senator from Texas.
Y'all, James Tallarico really said, I don't need black voters. I don't need y'all. I will go to white voters and Latino men and Republicans. I can get elected. I can do this. I can talk to Lauren Boebert and agree and nod my head as she bashes Joe Biden about the border. And I can say, yes, the Democrats ruined the economy, did everything bad. I can go to Joe Rogan and just say, yes, Donald Trump is a man of God. He's a godly man. I can talk to Republicans. I can do this. I am a solid 5'9". I got a nice gray suit and a blue tie. I got a Supercuts haircut. They understand me. They relate to me. I am one of them. I can win. I don't need black voters. 1 minute after Jasmine Crockett concedes, here's my email, black voters, please send me some money. Nah, you got this, James. Get those Republicans. They are loaded. They got money. Get that Republican money and run your campaign, my man. Let's see you win in Texas. You could do this. You got it. You don't need my $5. More power to you. Good luck.
Queens, I do apologize. My crown is not quite together. I plan to get that together this weekend. So please don't judge me. But I wanted to hop on here for a moment this morning because, you know, I have noticed this trend and this pattern, especially when it comes to the DNC and black candidates, whether it be Stacey Abrams, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Kamala Harris, and now Jasmine Crockett. They will place these black candidates, these amazingly qualified black candidates who in all retrospect should have every ounce of the DNC behind them, backing them. They will place them within these situations and they will place them against these candidates who are more so against the idea of fighting against said establishment and continuing to work on this status quo. And again, you know, I am a black progressive. I feel that a lot of people within Congress currently now under both ideologies, for the most part, are not as progressive as I would like for them to be, especially in regards to this country. But that being said, a candidate like Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Jasmine Crockett, strong progressive candidates, or candidates who would look to push the agenda, push things forward, and, in the end, I, again, we are met with people continuing to want to choose the status quo, people continuing to want for the person who is, in my opinion, less qualified. The person who has consistently showed their bigotry, their anti-blackness, their non-willingness to fight against this establishment, to continue to push the status quo. We continue to see them getting where they are. And to be quite frank, this is exactly why I talk about we have to return to our sense of community. Black people need to return to their sense of community, because when we had our own businesses, establishments, when we had our own governments, our people thrived. And essentially that's what people like Malcolm X and some other leaders wanted. They wanted, including Black Panther Party, they all wanted for us to be able to work within our own senses of community so that we no longer had to worry from the government. And this is why I think that it is very important that we as Black people take our resources, take our knowledge, continue to invest within our institutions, and continue to push for people to go to our institutions so that we can create communities that are for us, by us, that will look out for us. And we can have people within that said community who will continue to push to allow for our people to thrive. And this is exactly why I say we need to return to our sense of community. We need to return to rebuilding our communities, to rebuilding those governments within our communities. We need to return to investing in our people. And until we can do that, we are going to continue this perpetuated cycle. And, I feel that now of all times is when the DNC really needs to be kissing the boot of Black people right now, because we know that we're going to show up, and we're going to show up in droves, and we're going to show up in waves. But until they can appreciate that vote, we need to be using that as leverage from now until the midterms to ensure that our progression is going to happen. Because right now, all we are getting...
I'm getting ate up on Threads a little bit because I said that, like, hey, yeah, there's a whole bunch of Black folks in Texas who are not going to be fucking with James Talarico and are not going to want to vote for him unless he makes repair and, like, actually does something to court the Black vote. And I'm 1,000% in support of that. Absolutely. But I made the comparison. I was like, but now also I just want us to keep that same energy for the folks who did not vote for Kamala over Gaza. Like, if we can understand why you're not going to support James Talarico, which again, totally fine, I'm there. You also have to then understand why people didn't support Kamala Harris over Gaza, and there's a couple people who are mad about that, but like I fail to understand why, and I think the key difference is that. One, you agree with the reason that Black voters in Texas might not vote for James Talarico. Like, you see that as a worthy decision, whereas you see the people who chose not to vote for Kamala Harris over Gaza, you see that as, like, stupid or frivolous, and you don't agree with it. So therefore, you're like, well, those two things are different. And it's like, well, no, just because you agree with one and not the other doesn't mean that things are different. The other reason I think why folks are failing to see this crossover is because they think that the only people who didn't vote for Kamala Harris over Gaza are them annoying white leftists. And yeah, girl, they annoying. Yeah, they over there. But like, that's not true. That narrative entirely ignores the brown people who were organizing in the uncommitted movement, particularly in Michigan. It ignores the Black radicals who also weren't fucking with her over Gaza and her right-wing ass campaign in general. So it's like, if we're saying that, like, it's okay in one instance to withhold your vote from a politician because they're not doing enough and they're not speaking to the concerns of your community, they're not doing X, Y, and Z, okay, that's fine. But then we have to keep that same, I feel like that has to be then applicable to all politicians, right? It can't just be applicable to the politicians who you don't like or who have or for the causes that you deem worthy, right? It's like, how do we not keep we have to keep it all on the same level, right?
Good, huh? Makes you feel good about your choice, huh?
Well, I think it's interesting. I've been in this race for 5 days, and I've had a lot of interviews with national media. No one's ever asked me about the cost of housing. No one's asked me about the cost of prescription drugs. No one's asked me about the cost of childcare. The only thing the media wants to ask me about are trans athletes. And so what I would say is that the only minority destroying this country is the billionaires. Trans people are 1% of the population. Undocumented people are 1% of the population. Muslims are 1% of the population. We are all focused on the wrong 1%. Trans people aren't taking away our health care. Undocumented people aren't defunding our schools. Muslims aren't cutting taxes for themselves and their rich friends. It's the billionaires and their puppet politicians. And so we need not only the media, but all of us to focus on the real problem at hand.
Oh, you thought that was going to make us forget about those Dallas County votes that didn't get counted? You think that was going to make us forget about the false narratives about Jasmine Crockett taking AIPAC money while you made excuses for James Tallarico for taking AIPAC money? You think we're going to forget the fact that y'all literally said it's not about being the most qualified candidate? You think we're going to forget about the fact y'all literally tried to turn away her own background as a negative? Like, we don't need more lawyers in D.C.? Meanwhile, our national debt is through the roof, our country's being run in the ground, and our government's being ran by predominantly white men. Majority of people in the Epstein files are white men being protected by white men. We have military servicemen and women sending out SOS distress signals because their commanders out in the field are briefing them with quoting scriptures about self-fulfilling prophecies about World War III leading us to revelations. Kooky-ass people literally telling the troops that God has sent Donald Trump to save us. And as crazy as all of that sounds, your solution to that is, let's send in another white Christian man to the Senate. Y'all aren't serious. We know you're not serious, and that's why we're not playing this game. You can't explain what we see clearly. See, when he's pivoting from the 1% and saying that it's not about the illegal immigrants because less than 1% are committing violent crimes, black people already know this. They use that as a dog whistle to weaponize and demonize all illegal immigrants. It's really not about the 1%. We know that most people coming from other places are not committing violent crimes, just like the majority of black people are not violent people. But that doesn't stop law enforcement for looking at us to be thugs and criminals and stopping us on the street and saying we look suspicious just for being black. See, Tallarico actually misses the point, does not understand that when they're talking about the Mexican rapists and murderers or eating cats and dogs or whatever rhetoric they want to do, it's not about them who is actually doing those things. It's to get the masses to see them all as doing those things. That's the problem. Tallarico wants to pivot away from that, saying that's not even a problem. They're just bringing that up. It's not. No, it is a problem. It ain't about the 1%. It's never about the 1%. That's why 90% of the people who are in those detention centers have not committed crimes. And they're not getting sent back home after they find out, oh, well, y'all aren't criminals, so go back as you were. See, Tallarico hasn't connected those dots yet because he haven't lived that experience. He's going to have to hire somebody to help him navigate these things, like the nuance of racism, because he's never experienced it. Or, stay with me, you could hire somebody who actually understands this. See, it would make sense to pick James Tallarico if he and Jasmine Crockett were competing for like a principal's job at a middle school. Because obviously, it would be clear that he's already in the industry, he already has the background, he's already working on that level, he would be the most qualified. But according to y'all's logic, just because Jasmine Crockett has never worked in a middle school, just because she has no experience in that industry, doesn't mean she's not better than James Tallarico at being a principal in the industry that he currently is doing and has the experience level on. Now, I know it don't make sense to you, and it never had to make sense to you, because you just say those things to try to make it make sense. Just like James Tallarico talking about cracking down on the billionaires when he's a beneficiary of billionaires. That's the thing. That's the mental gymnastics y'all always do. When it's somebody who's qualified, you're going to say they're most qualified. If somebody you don't want, then it's not about being qualified. If you don't want them to be elected, you'll just say they're not electable. You don't want to admit that you're not going to vote for them. You'll just say they won't vote for them. Literally turning her expertise as a negative. We don't need more lawyers in a job that's for lawmakers. But you would never say we don't need more white Christian men in our government. But see, since 2024, black people's eyes are wide open and we actually understand. We have clarity of what's really going on right now. You weren't really voting for Jill Stein. You weren't really voting for Donald Trump. And even now, you really weren't voting for James Tallarico. You were voting against the black opponent. You were willing to accept the less qualified or throw your vote away altogether. So y'all can stop trying to make a case for Tallarico because he will never measure up to Jasmine Crockett. And here's the part y'all don't understand. There's 92% in this country right now already get it. We know the deal because we've lived these experiences. They know right now, in whatever profession they're working in, there are black women holding it down, doing the work, carrying the load, going way above and beyond what their job description calls for, doing the job. And the place where they work probably won't ever put them in that position because they've already predetermined they're not a good fit for the job. Yet they're doing the job. And eventually they're going to hire somebody that doesn't have the experience and the level of competence that they have, and they're going to put that person in that position. And you know who's going to train them? It ain't even going to be the black woman's boss. It's going to be the black woman because the black woman's boss can't even do the job that she's doing. So she's going to have to train the person that they have hired into the position that they have deemed her not to be qualified or ready for. Or y'all's new favorite, I think there's another position I'd rather see her in. All in all, she's been doing the damn job. That's the point that's been missed. And also recognize you need her. Just like you need us. We'll be more than ready, willing, and able when you accept the fact that we deserve a place at that damn table.
20 million miles ahead of you, wiping the residue, ignoring them quitters who be like, I'm telling you what you better do. Always got something to say, never come up with the play.
Time is funny. I'm listening to a lot of us, including myself, talk about how we are actually considering sitting out of the Texas Senate election coming in November. Not as a way to say, oh, we're butthurt because our girl didn't win. Come on now. But as a way to say, oh, so we're being oppressed. Clearly in our face, we're being oppressed. Like they're scheming and all sorts of things going on. We're being gaslit. You know, we're being bamboozled. Well, not bamboozled, but they're trying to bamboozle us. And they're degrading us. And they're disregarding us, taking us for granted. And it sounds a lot like what my people got tired of, to where they started to do things like hold sit-ins. They got arrested. They lost their livelihoods. You know, they started walking more. They sacrificed a lot. They did things that the white people didn't think that they could do. And before they knew it, they made change. And I think that that's what's not resonating with a lot of people that's making these statements on these videos of people saying they're not voting for Tallarico. They're forgetting that the only way that we can make statements to where they will motherfucking hear us is if we do things that they don't think that we're gonna do. Okay? We also have to be that sacrifice that our people were back in those days. You know, they were the reason why we can go and see the world now, and we can make enough money to go to college, and we could, you know, go to college, you know, just different things that they've sacrificed. Broken bones, broken hearts, everything for us to be doing what we're doing today. And now I guess it's fucking our turn because they're not listening to us, and they're going to keep gaslighting us. They're going to keep using us, and they're not going to put us in positions to help us make change for every fucking body, for everybody, including us. So that is why I am deciding, in memory of my people, not to vote for Tallarico, because what they've done to Jasmine Crockett is exactly what they were doing to my people. They want to use us, step on us like we're some fucking resource. We're not a resource. We're people. We're human beings. Beautiful, shining, bright lights on this earth. We are. We influence the world. And y'all not going to gaslight us as if we're nothing. We're not worth it. Because we come with swag, because we come with the truth, and the way we tell the truth, it may not sound like you, but it can help you. So y'all got it. Tallarico win, y'all will see. If he does well, great. I still will never forgive y'all. I still will never forgive you Democrats, you turncoats. Y'all forget who we are? Y'all forget who put the Democrats in their places? Y'all must forget. We're not going to let you forget. Just like my people during the civil rights era, stop letting y'all forget who we are.
Talk about Jasmine Crockett versus James Tallarico for Texas Senate. Sure. Well, I actually like both candidates fairly enough. I don't like them on all of their issues, but I do in general believe that they represent Texas better than most Republican politicians, if not all of them. Policy-wise, I agree with both candidates on multiple things, such as raising the minimum wage, expanding reproductive care, such as prenatal care, maternity leave, and restoring reproductive rights, as well as things such as having more equitable taxes. While I will also disagree with them on certain things, such as foreign policy regarding Israel and Palestine. I also like how both candidates are very sharp in their rhetoric, albeit in different ways. Jasmine Crockett is usually very surgical. She gets straight to the point very quickly. James Tallarico is more analytical in that he will dissect your argument and so that you can see its flaws.
If we pass your bill, could Romeo and Juliet be banned because it mentions premarital sex, which someone might find, quote, against their local community values?
There may be some. There may be some that, whether their own individual value system or their religious beliefs, that could believe that.
If your answer to could Romeo and Juliet be banned, if your answer is anything other than of course not, then that's a serious problem.
I'm not advised on Romeo and Juliet.
Do you think prostitution is profane and inconsistent with community values?
I think that prostitution could be relayed in the context of whatever the work is before us in terms of a work of literature or content.
Under the language of your bill, profane and inconsistent with community values, Lonesome Dove, my favorite book, a Texas classic, could be banned because it includes references to prostitution in the Old West. Is that correct?
The community values or community standards of an individual community would dictate that.
So it is possible.
And again, it's possible. But
do you think the F word is grossly offensive language?
I do.
Under the language of your bill, The Catcher in the Rye, an American classic, could be banned because it includes more than 300 curse words, including the F word.
That could happen, yes.
That classic work of literature could be removed from libraries if we pass this bill.
I think we're closing the door to some of the filth that we have heard read before our committee over the last two sessions.
We're not removing filth under your bill. We're removing Romeo and Juliet, which I don't consider filth. We're removing Lonesome Dove, which I don't consider filth. Things like Romeo and Juliet and Lonesome Dove and The Catcher in the Rye will be removed from school libraries because the definitions are overly broad.
All in all, I have leaned more towards James Tallarico than Jasmine Crockett for the following reasons. The first one being that he has not taken any corporate PAC money so far. Jasmine Crockett can't say the same. He has no current ties to AIPAC, and Jasmine Crockett currently does. The other thing is that he, in general, positioned himself better in this campaign towards working-class voters, something that Democrats desperately need to do. It frustrates me so much that Democrats repeatedly seem to ignore the issues of the working class, while Republicans will pander to the working class while still caring for the interests of the billionaire class. Now, the third reason why I lean more towards Tallarico is because of his background, not only in education, but also in theology, because he is a Master of Divinity from the Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary. And if you understand Presbyterians, they don't tend to be very progressive, but they tend to be very litigiously minded. And I grew up Presbyterian, so I can attest to this. And in general, they become very useful towards countering ideas such as Christian nationalism. One example of this is that Christian nationalists don't have very much to criticize James Tallarico about, so they've gone after him for stating that God is non-binary, something that is relatively understood in a theological sense, because why would God need to have a gender? Why would God need to be confined to a body? God transcends gender, God transcends a human form, therefore God has no gender. God is non-binary. And it's really interesting because you can see these Christian nationalists stating this in order to fight back against James Tallarico. And what they're doing is that they're changing their theology to match their politics, when they should be changing their politics to match their theology. Personally, I think it's hysterical because you have these people claiming that politics needs to be based around a religion. And what are they doing in practice? They're changing their religion to match their politics, meaning that they don't actually care about Christianity, they just want to remain in power. And James Tallarico can be an antidote to that sort of Christian nationalism, which has been on the rise in the United States over the past 40 years. So I support Tallarico over Crockett for those reasons, and since he's won the primary, we'll have to see how he does in the general election against either Ken Paxton or John Cornyn. If Paxton wins the Republican primary, I think he has a real shot at winning it. I can't say for sure, though, if Cornyn wins the Republican primary. Overall, though, he has a stronger campaign than Beto O'Rourke does regarding substance, and I really hope that he becomes the first Texas Democratic senator in well over 30.
I don't think you're ready for what's happening. I have never been online and seen so many black folks on the same page. Let me just tell you. I'm a Gen Xer. I've been around a long time, and I have never seen black people in America on the same page like we are today. I'm talking about somebody like me. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm mixed. I'm a rainbow generation, daughter of hippies from LA. I'm talking about Southern black folks. I'm talking about church ladies. I'm talking about all of us. And since Jasmine Crockett, y'all fucked up big time. And I don't think you understand how much you fucked up. You fucked up big time, because we are done. We are officially done. We were done after the presidential election, but now we are done. Done. And I don't think you understand what we've been doing. I think you think you've been doing a lot, and you don't know how much we have been doing on your behalf. We've been educating you. You've been getting out the vote. People like Stacey Abrams have been saving the Democratic Party multiple times. There's a whole bunch of folks nobody's ever heard of that do the back-breaking work. And we are done. We're done. So I don't know what's going to happen in Texas, but I can tell you there's a lot of black people. They don't give a fuck anymore. They don't care. And there's a lot of people outside of Texas like me who've seen what y'all have been doing. And we are not interested. We are not interested in doing the labor and the education and the electoral work. We're done. And you know what? We're going to be okay, because we are resilient, especially those of us who are descendants of enslaved people. If our ancestors made it across the Middle Passage, if we made it through enslavement, if we made it through Jim Crow, made it through lynching time, we know how to survive. We know how to get educated when education is illegal. We know how to grow our own victory gardens. We know how to survive. And y'all, I don't know if you're ready. I don't know if you're ready for this, but we're done. Some of us are leaving the United States. We're taking our intellectual capital, our creativity, our culture. We are what makes the United States cool, boo. And you don't understand. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And these next election cycles that are happening, Tallarico, I don't know if you know what's going on. If you were expecting black folks to vote for you, I don't know. I don't know if you can expect that anymore. And as far as the Democratic Party goes, we're tired. We're tired of these folks, wearing the Kente cloth and doing their little kneeling thing that they did, I don't know, in 2020, and then not showing up for us. You know what really, really blows my mind? If y'all were actually thinking about yourselves, really, and you were smart, you would realize that if you cared about the fact that we are being denied a right to vote, and maybe the fact that people have to wait 5 and 6 hours in line in Texas when white folks don't have to wait that long, that actually might be costing you some votes. But because you don't care about black folks, you're actually hurting yourselves. But you know what? We know it, and we're done. And we're tired. And we're tired of doing your work for you, and we're tired of taking the blame for you, and we're done. And so we'll see what happens. I don't think you understand what's coming, but we'll see. We'll see.
How Latino voters in Texas made James Tallarico the Democratic nominee for Senate. There was one key reason James Tallarico was the Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate: Latino voters. Not only did Crockett carry Houston and Dallas, she got 77% more votes in those two cities combined than Allred did last cycle. But Tallarico's shocking counterpunch was in Hispanic-dominated counties across South Texas. Even though he's not from that part of the state, he dominated in Bexar and Webb counties, and further south in the Rio Grande Valley in Cameron and Hidalgo counties. Combined, those 4 counties nearly offset all of Crockett's 70,000 vote margin across Dallas and Houston. It's hard for me not to go there, but y'all know I'm going to go there. People often say it's not about the thing, but so often it is about the thing. Of course, whoever is going to admit that it's about the thing. And it's been about the thing so often that how do we know when it's not about the thing? Actually, 2 things. And that brings me to this clip that I came across probably a year or so ago. Between that, as well as different experiences and perspectives from my family and some friends in California. And I spoke a little bit about that in a previous post from a little while ago. In addition to a lesser degree of my own personal observations, especially when traveling, particularly in certain places in the United States. It really opened my eyes to certain things regarding the Latino community, especially as it concerns black folks, and especially as it concerns black women. Check this out.
The other reason Latinos voted for Trump that we're not talking about is because they wanted to punish women. They wanted to punish liberated women. They come to this country, and a lot of them are extremely resentful of the fact that they have to answer to women. And this is something that we don't really talk about, right? But it's something I've experienced a lot, especially from like South American men. I know that a lot of Americans still don't want to believe that Latinos are white, but I want you to ask yourself two questions. Who colonized Latin America, and where did those colonizers go? Okay, so they might not be what you consider to be white, as in white American, but they are a flavor of white, all right? The same way that Europeans don't view Americans the same as them, the same way that there are different factions even within America when it comes to like Italians and Irish people and Jewish people and just, WASPs and stuff like that. They are white, and you have to kind of let that get into your head, okay? So they come to this countries that are extremely male-centered, patriarchal countries where women are not in any way, shape, or form empowered the way that they are here. And they have to answer to women. And not only that, they have to answer to black women. And they hate that shit. They hate that shit, okay? So they wanted to humble you. That's what they did. While you're fighting for their rights, while you're fighting for them to get in here, they're fucking humbling you. The women too. Because a lot of Latina women, and if you know Latina women, you're going to know what I'm talking about, especially the most conservative ones. They're doing their dirt. They're doing all this stuff, but they hide it from their families. They keep it quiet. They take advantage of all the freedom they have here, and then they go back and pretend that they're, la niña buena, the little good girl. But at the end of the day, they're resentful of the fact that they can't be as free as a lot of women who openly go against the social norms of the patriarchy. And so they want to punish you. They want to humble you. The women that I know that voted for this man or that didn't vote are not women that I would consider to be women who would push back against the status quo. They're not. They're not women that openly speak up about women's rights. They're not women that do that. They only care about themselves. And there is a level of resentment within them to see other women that are not held back by the same things that they're held back because they're male-centered and they don't want to lose that approval. As a Latina that has always been open since I was a young girl, before I understood what feminism was, I've always spoken my mind. When I tell you the amount of pushback I've gotten, I've been called masculine. I've been told that no one would ever marry me because I'm not submissive enough. I've been told so much crap. I've been told that I'm too liberated. I've been told that I'm a man hater. I've been told that I'm a know-it-all. I get told all kinds of crap by Latinas that are supposedly liberated, by Latinas that you would think they wouldn't be anti-feminist. Okay, so you have to understand that it isn't just about racism. It's about feminism. It's about humbling us. It's about putting us in our place. So from here on out, the next 4 years, if you were already like becoming, an opinionated woman, if you were already being intense, or if you were on the fence about it, I want the next 4 years for you to be a raging feminist. I want you to be repulsive to these people. I want you to be a fucking problem. I want you to rub it in their face. And I want you to stop fighting for the rights of people that come to this country and want to limit your rights, because we barely gained our own rights. We barely gained our own rights. And the people that we've been helping came here and decided that they didn't want to see us liberated, that they want to see us the same way that the women in their countries are. And I'm not just talking about the men, I'm talking about the women too. They're pick-me's. A lot of them are pick-me's. So yeah, think about that, because moving forward, I know I'm not an anti-immigration person, but I've been seeing this coming down the pipe for a long time because of the amount of people that we've been letting in here. I was like nervous for years because I'm like, this is definitely going to flip the country red. This is definitely going to flip the country red. And again, I'm not anti-immigration, but I want you to use your noggin, okay? France doesn't have birthright citizenship. Haiti doesn't have birthright citizenship. The minute Trump got elected, Canada closed its doors. We don't have to be anti-immigration, but we need to have some standards, because we barely got rights and now we're losing them to people who came from their country, and now they're turning it into what they came from. Think of all the people that are behind this. Undocumented immigrants that got elected, that got naturalized, that got citizenship, they voted for this. I know people who were going through programs like DACA. There was another program previously that Clinton had in place. They voted for this shit. A lot of these DACA recipients, as soon as they get citizenship, are likely going to vote for this shit. They're going to keep voting red. And we just keep letting them into the country. The New York City Council, do you know what they've been doing as New York has been flipping further and further red? As all of these little media organizations and blogs were on the streets asking Latinos who they voted for or who they would vote for if they weren't undocumented. I'm talking about people that are here right now undocumented, that came here for asylum. They would ask them and they'd say, I would vote for Trump. I would vote for Trump. I'd vote for Trump. All over the country, people are seeing formerly undocumented people, currently undocumented people saying that either voted or they would vote for Trump. And the New York City Council over here was pushing for undocumented people to vote in local elections. An incredibly unpopular movement in the middle of this craziness that we have going on here. while the people that they're trying to help are actively working against us. We need to have higher standards for immigration. We can't just let people show up here without being educated, without making sure that they don't respect our rights, because we're going to keep losing them. People are envious. People have a crabs in the bucket mentality, and people hate women. They hate women, especially Latinos, especially a lot of these people from male-centered countries. All right. And we're just working against our own interests. Women need to have standards. We can't just support everyone. We have this mentality of like wanting everyone to be okay, and we'll screw ourselves over for that. It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. And I know you might know a lot of people right now that they're scared and they're suffering and all this stuff and that they wouldn't vote red. But I want you to ask yourself this question. Do they openly speak up for women's rights? Do they openly speak up for black people's rights? Or do they only care about their own situation? Because this is another thing about a lot of Latinos, even if they're left-leaning. They still want to be approved of by their family. So they're not going to vocally speak out for anything but themselves. They're not going to openly challenge the culture. They're not going to do it. And if they're not willing to do that, they are also a part of the fucking problem. So if you're going to get into this country, you have to be the kind of person that openly fights for our rights. Not the kind of person that comes here and benefits from it, and then you want to shut up because you don't want to make your parents mad. Fuck that shit.
Yeah. Oh, and to those who try to say that it had to happen in order to give Democrats the best chance of winning Texas in November, I'm just going to leave this right here. Yeah.
Anyways, welcome back, and that's all I got for this video, and let's just digest this a little bit. Because you see, one thing with some of these white folks is that they think that they can come intimidate, shame us, make us look like we're not worth it, and at the end of the day we'll just wake up one morning, boom, and be like, oh my god, I'm supporting them. After all, they have apologized. You know, they're fond of doing that thing. They're fond of doing stuff whereby the moment they are turned provoking us, the moment they say they don't need us, they don't need our support, in fact they don't need anything relating to us, and they now see that they are going to end up a loser, they will literally now start calling on black people's help. Now let it make sense to me that you decided to win the primary elections, because as far as I'm concerned, that was actually not an election. That was just take the position and go. It's as simple as that. You can't tell me that you actually won Jasmine Crockett. No. I can't take that, okay? I knew that most of the things that happen allegedly is just you take the vote and go. Yes, because why? We want a white man to be the ruler. We don't want any black person. You know, that was the same thing that happened in the place of Kamala Harris, where we literally saw everything clearly, but at the end of the day, it was torn, it was thwarted, and who are we to say no, right? So, but for you people to always have issues and be calling on the presence of a black man, a black woman is a no-no. For you people to look into our face, spit into our face, and make us look like we're not important, and when it is now time, you now have the guts, the audacity, the effrontery, the temerity to call on a black woman or a black man is a no-no. Just like the video I uploaded there before yesterday, where you literally have to see the orange man now calling a black woman to come help him and show him every single thing that he is literally going to do, which is Condoleezza Rice, right? So he called her into the White House, even went ahead, shake her, welcome her, tap her on the shoulder, walked her into her office because he knew that he is literally in a mess. But when he was literally creating that particular mess, when he was creating his own mess, he never called her. We slept, we woke up, and he said, yes, there is war. And right now, fuel scarcity, dollar rising, every single thing is affecting every single person in every part of the world, right? And now we now have James Tolerico, where he literally wants to, Jasmine, look at the way he's putting it in the sense that we are one, Texas is one, we should support one another, blah, blah, blah. And you think Jasmine would just lower her egos just like that to come and support you? Jasmine is a strong, black, fearless, black American woman. That is one thing you need to know. So if you're thinking that right now you have won the primaries and you're going for the secondaries, and you think that most black Americans will just come clap, cheer for you because of this bullshit you just said, sorry, you just lose us, okay? You lose black people generally from the day you people decided to cheat. From the day you people decided that there is nothing good that will come out of us, you people have literally lost black people. Okay? Go meet the Latinos, go meet the Hispanics, go meet the Mexican, go meet your fellow white people to literally vote for you. You understand? Even right now that I'm seeing some Latinos voters saying, oh, they regret voting, blah, blah, blah. I don't even believe in their words, because one of the people that will really disappoint you, one of the people that black people literally do not need to mingle with are all these Latinos and Hispanic races, because at the end of the day, they will talk and then they will go back and do what they think they know how to do best. So I don't think it is just the right thing for you to start begging or calling on a black woman or trying to earn or trying to gain favor from a black woman after every single thing that you guys did to a black woman. It's not making sense. It's not at all. Okay, so all you need to do is to gather your acts together and look for solution. Okay, you people already know that no matter how hard you people try, we are strong, we are fearless, we are everything we are. Black people don't just say it because they're saying it because they mean it. If they said this is what we actually want, yes. And hearing from the other girl, which is the first particular clip I roll out in this video, where there was no recounts, there was no recounts, there was no revote, nothing. You were so happy, so comfortable. You were so okay with the fact that you have to win. And of which we as black people, we are happy for you. We congratulated you and let's all move on. But calling on our presence to come do what? To come do what? To come do what? It's not going to work. That is why a lot of black Americans are saying, Condoleezza Rice, please do not support the orange man. Let him fight his battle by himself, okay? Let him fight his battle. Let him do what he thinks he knows how to do best by himself. There is no need of you supporting him. There is no need of you showing him the road. You were not there when he started all of this. You were not there when he started misbehaving. Okay, so why will you be there when he needed you? The same thing I put, see, I'm just so fed up of some of these white folks trying to use their intelligence on us and thinking that they can just use us anytime, dump us anytime, and move on with their life. The same video I uploaded yesterday where you literally, or is it yesterday or this morning, where you literally see a black man. If you've not watched that video, guys, go watch that video, which was the first video I uploaded today, where you literally see a black man that has literally worked his ass out for these restaurants, right? After working his ass out for these restaurants, making sure that this restaurant actually stand, he went in doing the advert. Because of him, a lot of black celebrities were coming. A lot of white celebrities too were even coming just because of this man, because each and every one of them thought that this man literally owned the place, right? Now, because of one celebrity that came and he gave the man $4,000, right? He wanted to give the man, not he gave, sorry. He wanted to give the man $4,000 as, oh, keep up the good job. And he found out that the security of the restaurant are now preventing him not to go to this man. That was when this man started making research and he wanted to know more about what is really happening. And at the end of the day, he found out that this black man is not the owner of the restaurant. He is just doing the promotional jobs, blah, 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 for the restaurants. And the man got provoked. And for the fact that he have to do that, no problem. Let's withdraw all our black dollars. And now, as I'm talking to you, the restaurant is begging for customers. Restaurant that normally you will see a very long queue from here to any length of queue, right, in America. Right now, they are begging for customers, okay? So just know that there is this thing called power behind the black skin. There is this thing called we can do it all. There is this thing called we want to invest our dollar. There is this thing called we choose to withdraw our dollar out of your business, out of what is your business, out of every single thing that concerns you. And at the end of the day, you people will literally start crying. You people literally start saying, oh, black people come to my rescue. Oh, black people come and help me. Oh, black people come and do this. Oh, black people come and do that. Oh, black people, we wish we did not say this to you. Oh, black people, we wish we did not say that to you. That is behind the scene. The deal has been done. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this video, and credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best, okay? Nothing but the best. And honestly, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. And with no having said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.